All right. Well, this is the beginning of day 2 of Solo Tabletop Dungeon Fest, and I finished up the quest for Hero Quest a little faster than usual. I actually shortened my hours. I looked to see like what I had done in previous tabletop series like this, what my schedule during the day was. And I was trying to bite off more this time around, and I think I was able to fit it into my schedule, but I didn't really have the focus to go for that length of time with board gaming. There's a lot to keep track of. It's really hard for me to multitask, and so to play a game that's not just random dice chucking and thoughtless whatever, and also thinking about the live stream and the technical stuff and checking on that, checking on chat to make sure there's nothing there I need to respond to. There's just a lot going on, and I think that I've got the sweet spot today, which is about 3 hours, and hopefully that will, I'm sure I'll still lose focus, but hopefully it won't be as bad as it would have otherwise been. Anyway, so I decided to move on to Four Against Darkness. This is a game that I have known about for years. I've already done some streaming of it and posting of those sessions, and it's been around for a number of years, but 2022 was when I really kind of discovered it for myself and discovered an enjoyment of it. So that's what I really felt like just kind of moving on to. So I have gone through one dungeon since the last time that I streamed. And let me see if I can find that dungeon and just recall some of what happened there. I am kind of planning on streaming this and kind of letting this be a campaign series of Four Against Darkness. But it's not a guarantee, far from it I would say, that I will be live streaming everything that I do in this campaign. But let's see here. So this is my 3-ring binder that I kind of keep all of my campaign notes in and stuff. I believe that this one, number 6, might have been the one that I did on the last stream. And then number 7, I did off of the stream. Yeah, definitely, because I remember I was fighting this freaking Oblivion Lich that was a big pain. And yeah, so let's see here. The story for this one was the capital is holding an execution while you rest at the guild grounds. An old mercenary companion joins you for a drink. The criminal being executed was guarded by a revenge spell that will curse the family of any who betray him to his death. Your friend once worked with the criminal. That's a poorly constructed sentence. I should rewrite that. Your friend once worked with the criminal, but ultimately turned him in and now faces this curse. He is distraught and asks you to clear and cleanse the ruin once belonging to the mage who created the curse. And that little note there is to modify the dungeon using number 24 in the supplement Twisted Dungeons. The boss I pre-chose to be the Oblivion Lich. And then the reward, in addition to the regular boss and boss rewards, was to roll on the treasure table and add 2 to the result. So this was the map, and all that story was generated through the kind of like random story generation, quote unquote, tables, I guess, that I kind of came up with. Which maybe sometime during this week I'll stream the generation of a quest. It depends on how long it takes to get through the dungeon we're going to go through. But this was modified. Let's see here. I guess I don't need to get into all that. But this was not a huge dungeon. But it definitely was challenging. I'm trying to remember what. I think the mummy gave me some trouble. And really that Oblivion Lich. I was in combat with that Oblivion Lich for longer than I thought I would be. But anyway, I got out alive, got the reward, sold the map for a little bit of extra profit on the side, and went to town and recovered. And now I'm ready to take on the next quest. As a reminder of who my characters are, let me pull this character sheet out just a little bit. My play setup, if you want to just take a look at it here for a second, is much more simplistic than that of HeroQuest. And last time I only showed you what was on the table here for HeroQuest, which was already plenty going on, but I also had a big table, or a second table right here, that was filled with minis and tiles and all this kind of stuff, and there's just not near as much. In fact, this game could be played with even far less of a footprint. I mean, the whole setting up of these minis and stuff is just something I'm doing mostly for the stream. I think, well, playing by myself, I've kept it set up like this. This is the board game that, between these twice annual board game live streams weeks that I do, this is the game that I have been keeping set up in my office, and just kind of like, now and then coming over, sitting down and doing a couple turns or rounds of combat or a couple rooms of exploration, and then moving on to something else. It's really this nice little tabletop snack that I can come to now and then. And so I'm actually getting ready. My wife and I, we passed our 20th anniversary last January. Now, this January, we celebrated our 21st. But this coming March, we're going to go to England, and I think we're going to hit Scotland and then also France briefly to celebrate our 20th anniversary. It took about a year to plan it. But one of the things that I'm kind of anticipating trying out is different types of nerd gaming stuff when we have downtime, and she's, we're in a B&B and she just wants to maybe watch a show or listen to a book or something like that. And so when in those moments I want to pull out something nerdy, we're trying to really pack light. In fact, we're not planning on checking any bags, but just using small rolling carry-ons, and that's going to do us for 2 weeks overseas. And so I want to be as compact as possible in anything that I bring with me. And so I am planning to put 4 Against Darkness to the test and see how much further I can condense this thing down and make it portable. I have to say, my impression of it so far is that you get so much more game out of this for the amount of space it can be compacted down to than any other game I've played. Yeah, I think I can say that. Or at least, I mean, arguably you could fit more into like a D&D campaign, since it's just dice, pencils, and paper, and a couple of maybe thin books or something. But I don't want, when I'm talking about solo gameplay and something that's more streamlined, this would definitely be my go-to right now. Anyway, so let me reintroduce you to my adventuring party. This is the premier party of the Eldorastian Empire Guild. Eldorast, of course, is my wizard that I try to always bring into any opportunities in video games or tabletops to play as a wizard. He's a bitter, old, crotchety, grumpy man. And in response to just how crappy he thinks his life has been, he's aiming to take over the world. And he's a bit weird and senile, and I don't think the world is ever likely to be taken over by Eldorast, but that is his bitter ambition. But he's not in the lead of my party. In the lead, we've got Patience the Dwarf, and these names were generated with just a random fantasy name generator, because at the beginning of learning this game, my characters were dying. These guys have been hanging on for a while, so I might want to rename them. I don't know. Anyway, Patience the Dwarf, very patient to put up with Eldorast. He's got 9 health. He's level 4. And I guess I erased the gold. Doesn't have any gold now. I keep track of my gold on a separate sheet of paper. Let's see here. What ability he's got? He can do a little extra damage against dragons. That's because of, I think, like an extra added campaign plot, or like, I can't remember what it's called. Like I don't know. There's some kind of thing you can, like a side quest you can take on, that if you complete, your character gets a permanent ability or bonus or something like that. And so he took that on at some point, and now has +1 when he's attacking dragons. He gets +4 attack when he's doing non-ranged attacking. He gets +1 attack versus goblins, +1 defense versus trolls, ogres, giants. Let's see here. Oh yeah, he can identify monster treasure if he rolls equal to or greater than a 6 on a d6 when adding his level. He adds 20% to the value of any gem or jewelry that you acquire, because he's kind of a connoisseur or something like that, is able to kind of evaluate the the value of minerals and things like that, because he's a dwarf, I guess. As far as weapons, he's got a +1 sword. He's got a bow, which he never uses, a +1 shield, and heavy armor, which adds +2 to his defense, and all that's factored in up there in his stats. So that's Patience, the dwarf. Oh yeah, he's got some equipment I should go over. He has. Oh yeah, he doesn't have any rations. Someone else is carrying the rations. He's got Fool's Gold, which is handy to bribe monsters to end an encounter non-violently if you have the option. He's got 1 healing potion. And I am planning on starting with basically this dungeon going forward, modifying the rules for healing potions. Normally in the rules, a character is only allowed to have 1 healing potion per dungeon. Like, they can only use 1 healing potion per dungeon. There's no explanation for that. I have to come up with some kind of headcanon, I guess, that they build up a resistance to using it. I don't know. I think it's really weird. And I am bad at, keeping track of all the rules anyway, not just because the rulebook is notoriously difficult to follow given its organization and to find rules that you're looking for. That's a big problem that any player for Against Darkness will tell you, but also just because my memory is crap, and especially when I'm trying to multitask and stream. So you're going to notice me probably, if you're familiar with the rules of this game, breaking rules. Sometimes it'll be on purpose, sometimes it'll be on accident. I'm probably not going to bother telling you which one it is. I follow the sage advice that I once heard from a YouTuber playing this game, who said, if you're having fun, you're doing it right. And of course that only applies, I think, to solo games. You got to be thoughtful about your fellow players if you're playing in a multiplayer game, but if you're playing solo, who the heck cares? And this is not live stream or videos that I'm putting up to help you learn this game. It's just to give you a sense of its flavor, I suppose. Okay, he's got a Ring of Teleportation, which I think that just helps him escape from combat, but kind of leaves his party high and dry. I don't think they get to come with him for that. And then he's got 2 clues right now, 1 more, and I can get something special. You can find those while you're crawling dungeons. So anyway, that's Patience the dwarf. Griffith the cleric. Now, the reason I'm thinking about changing, or going to experiment with changing the limitations on the healing potion rule, is because I want to have a character class. I don't want to use a cleric. I really don't. And I think if I could find another way to heal my guys reliably that would still cost something, you still have to pay for the potions, then I could explore having a different character class here. I've just, when I have a party of adventurers, if I don't feel like I have to, I'll choose something else, like a barbarian, like a straight up fighter, instead of a cleric. Right now, my dwarf is kind of serving as my fighter. The fighter class is like a barbarian, but they can't use any magic items and stuff. I'm like, I'm not really into that, and so the dwarf is kind of a halfway point right now to a true blue fighter class. And I think that might be what I would replace the cleric with at some point, if I can find another way to provide healing. Because his advantages against the undead, I don't think are necessarily worth it. I don't know. And a lot of it has to do not with tactics for me, but with flavor. I just, I'm not big into clerics. So this is Griffith the cleric. He's also at level 4. He's got 8 life max. He attacks with d6 plus 2. He's got a defense of d6 plus 4. What else? He adds half of his level to his normal attack, so he's a decent fighter compared to other classes. He's got he adds his full level to his attack against any undead. He can cast scrolls at level 1. So I think that maybe means, does that include magic scrolls? I'm not sure. I think it might, but he is limited to casting them at level 1. So nothing near what a magic user could actually do. He's got a mace that gives +1 damage. He's got a sling, a shield that adds to +1 to his defense. He's got heavy armor that adds 3 to his defense. He's got 3 blessing spells, and I will fill in. Do I fill in or do I usually erase those? I can't remember what I do. I think maybe I fill those in when they're used up. Wait, what's going on over here? I need to recharge my mage's spells. Yeah, that's right. the circle, that's right. I draw the circle to indicate that he's got it charged and ready, and then I think I fill it in is what I've been doing to indicate that it's been used up. So anyway, he's got 3 blessing spells. Those can remove various status effects. And he's got 3 healing spells, which do exactly what it sounds like they would do. He's got 1 healing potion. All of my guys have 1 healing potion. He's got a terror skull. I can't remember what that does, but I don't think it's super relevant all the time. I think it maybe has to, like scaring monsters or something. And that's about it for what he's got going on. Then Shaden, my rogue, is a level 4, has 7 life, d6 minus 1 when he attacks, d6 plus 4 when he defends. He gets to add his level to a roll to disarm enemies. He gets to add his level to his defense roll. That's already factored in. He adds his level to an attack when outnumbering minions. That's a tough one for me to remember, to be mindful of, so I'll probably mess that up. He's got a dagger, which is a -1 slash damage, a sling, which is what he's going to be using much more often because I've got him in the back row with the wizard. He's got light armor that adds 1 to his defense. He's got lockpicks, rope, lantern, and those are all kind of like context sensitive in terms of when they can be used. It's usually kind of given to me as I run into it. You can use a rope here, you can use this here, whatever. He's carrying all the rations. He's got 1 healing potion, no coins. Oh, that's right. I forgot about this. There's a walking table that I picked up in Twisted Hordes, page 30. Let's look that up because I don't know that I've properly been taking advantage of that. So this is the rulebook Twisted Hordes. It's got a bunch of special treasure in it to kind of spice up your game a bit. Because the treasure that's just included in the game can get pretty boring, pretty samey after a while. Let's see, where did I say that was? Twisted Hordes. Oh, not page 30, but number 30, because you roll for something random. Okay. So this is the walking table. This small side table has a brass plate mounted in the center with 3 words written in chaos language. When the first word is spoken, the table will follow you, walking like an animal. When the second word is spoken, it will lower itself, folding its legs under it. When the third word is spoken, the table will stand firm, and no one will be able to tell it is anything other than a normal table. The table was created to carry a wizard's books and paraphernalia, but you can place any desired item on it. Treat it like a pack horse, and use your common sense to determine whether the table can or cannot access some locations. It won't climb up trees or rope ladders, for example. This is a permanent magic item. So that's really cool because, excuse me, one thing that I've been having to navigate is carrying capacity and inventory space. And so the walking table, really, I should maybe have a sticky handy to keep track of stuff on the walking table. Let me grab that real quick. All right, so I'll just use a little sticky pad here and notate walking table. I just got another supplement over Christmas vacation from my wife that has a bunch of added stuff in it too. One of which is like a bag of holding, where it's got like a massive capacity inside and it doesn't impinge on your weight. So I'm definitely looking to get into that at some point, but I haven't read enough of that to feel comfortable doing it on a stream at this point. But yeah, I'll definitely use this walking table. Okay, what else we got going on? He's got another piece of fool's gold. Looks like my explosive potions were already used up, so we are all out of those. I'm not sure why I kept those on there. Why don't I erase that right now? And then finally, we've got the wizard Elderast. And he is the only level 5 party member. He's got 6 health. And his regular attack is d6 minus 1. He defends with just a straight d6. He casts... his spells equal... Oh, yes. The number of spells that he can have, like, ready to go. Copies of spells, or whatever. is his level plus 2. So right now at level 5, he can have 7 spells ready to go. And let's see here. He's got a staff. He really never uses that. He's got a map and scroll case that's required equipment for if you want to do mapping to sell the map later on. I mean, you do mapping, you draw out the map anyway, but in terms of if you want to have an in-lore map to sell afterward, then you got to have map and scroll case and writing implements. He's also got a spell book and mapping materials. Let's see, what do I have charged up here? Looks like I've got 2 sleep, and I've not recharged any of my other spells. So let me do that really quick. Let's see here. What do I want to have? It looks like last time I did... Oh, I think I gained a level, because I think maybe I just had 6 spells last time. Protect, that's a scroll, I'm pretty sure. I think that's what that means, is I fill in the middle one when it's a scroll, and then I fill the outer one when I've used it up. I think I'll go 2 sleep. Oh, wait. I've got 3 fireball here. That's just one that wasn't used. Okay. Do I like that? I think I do. I think I'll keep that arrangement. So let me just make that adjustment here. So 2 sleep spells. 3 fireball spells. They're probably the most versatile. And 2 lightning bolts in addition to... What is that, a scroll out there? Or what? I'm looking at this and trying to figure out why I had this there. Does that represent a scroll, or... That represents a scroll. It must have been a scroll. It must have been a scroll that I used up, so I'll just erase it. Okay. And then these other spells are spells that he knows, but does not currently have equipped. Destroy Aberration, Illusionary Bridge. They haven't been super relevant yet. He picked up scrolls of those at one point and just committed them to his knowledge, but this is the rule supplements that they're a part of. So, but I'm not going to equip those spells for this quest, so it's not really relevant. Let's see. Protect, he's got a scroll, looks like. Got a sleep wand with 3 charges. A fireball staff with, 1 charge left. You know, before I go back in, I should recharge that. I should pay to recharge that. So let me see if I can find the rules for that. I'm pretty sure I've collected various kind of supplements for this game. Some of them just free and online that you can find links to at Board Game Geek. Here we go, the Mage Tower. That's what I'm looking for. So this was created by, looks like, Evan Chauvette, and it's the city, a fan supplement for Against Darkness, and I found it has some ideas in it that I definitely like. So let's see, let's go to the Mage Tower. I'm sure I've been using the recharging rules here. The party may enlist the aid of the tower to recharge magical items. The party may pay 100 gold pieces to restore 2 charges to magical items. And let's see, this does not function on Rings of Wishes or any item that has completely lost its power. And so I assume that by power that refers to charges. I'm not sure now that I see that word power. Maybe that's not what it means. Anyway, up to this point, I've always been keeping 1 charge without using it because I'm like, well, I want to keep using this. So I don't want to use the last charge. So basically, it functions as a reusable fireball staff that only has 1 charge, and then I need to go recharge it. Unless I want to use the other charge and lose it forever. That actually, that's kind of an interesting kind of cost-benefit analysis proposition. So maybe I'll continue to assume that by power they mean they're also charges. So yeah, But what does it say here? 100 gold pieces to restore 2 charges to magical items. Well, what about 50 for 1 charge? I'm just going to pay 50. I'm just going to pay 50. So let me ditch. Where's my gold total at? Let's see. Here we go. So this is the page that I keep track of the money in my bank, and then also the items in my vault. And then down here I've got guild properties. There's different things that I'm using. This is another fan-made supplement. Let me see if I can credit the creator. Pedro Correia, or Pedro Correia, or AndrePOR. So I've probably said all but the correct pronunciation. But there you go, Pedro. 4 Against Darkness campaign plots. And I actually took one of these campaign plots called Burned Village, and I modified it to also be a campaign plot for guild buildings. Because the idea is you come back to your village that's been totally destroyed, and so you have to rebuild it. And I thought, well, why not just skip the lore about the village being destroyed, and you're starting from scratch, kind of building an outpost with houses, an inn, a school, an armory, a jeweler, and a healer's house. And all these things would be in service to your guild. There is also like a guild supplement that I just got called Tales from the Adventurers Guild or something like that. But I haven't read all that. And so in the meantime, I'm using these rules and liking them so far. So anyway, let's see here. Okay. So it looks like my funds right now are at 567. That's probably a little too far away to see, but I can certainly afford 50 coins to recharge my staff. Oh, this eraser's dying out on me. And then I think that makes us ready for the dungeon. Let me just make sure there's nothing else I wanted to cover on his character sheet. All his spells are ready to go. He's got a healing potion, of course. He's got a ring of teleportation, which I don't mind using for him, to have him bug out if I really need to. And he doesn't have any more explosive potions. Those are like a particular item that you gain from fighting the Mad Alchemist, and they basically do automatic damage. It's really cool. But I don't anticipate running into... In fact, I know I won't, because I've already selected the monsters for this quest. So let's talk about this quest. It's dungeon number 8. That's not the number of dungeons I have played in this streaming series. A number of those have been played just by myself, which is really my preferred way to play this. This is a nice kind of... other people have commented and said this about 4 Against Darkness. It's a nice, relaxing game. There's something... I think when you're playing a solo game like this, or if you're attempting to do any kind of something that's like a solo RPG or a light solo RPG, I think part of what you need to bring with you is an interest in being creative. Not because you can't just have the world presented to you, without any creative input yourself. I mean, you're doing that as a player in RPGs, but I think you need to be interested in creating stats, maybe on the fly, at least with some of the plans I have for this game long term. I want to start figuring out ways to play through D&D content and have some rules to help me quickly convert monsters and things like that to 4 Against Darkness, So I think you need to kind of be interested in some of those game master homework things that those who run tabletop RPGs are used to doing. And if you can accept that that's creative process, that sort of book work, that homework type stuff, if you enjoy that, as a number of game masters do, I certainly did back in the day, then I think there's kind of this interesting hybrid between that kind of game master homework and actually playing through the game that you can experience by yourself playing 4 Against Darkness. And I certainly don't think it's near as bogged down in technicalities and research and stuff as sometimes that kind of GM prep work can be. But this is another story generated with some tables that I came up with. 8th dungeon, and I called it the Cultic Cavern of Chaos, and I gave it that name after generating the story. But the story, in my chicken scratch handwriting, says, rumors are circulating of a cult that worships the otherworldly entity Ziktul. In service to this entity, they have established an underground ritual site in some nearby caverns where they offer creatures, both living and dead, to be chaotically altered and prepared to serve Ziktul by a powerful Chaos Lord placed in this region to serve the cult of Ziktul. Enter the caverns, kill the Chaos Lord, and you may keep his collected treasure and be rewarded by the king. And that reward is that upon leaving victorious, you roll for a Twisted Horde item. There is a 50% chance, I just put a note on the side here, of Twisted Minions and Twisted Vermin. And Twisted Minions is the name of a supplement for this game that kind of modifies your typical grunt monsters that you'll run into in a dungeon to make them a bit more interesting. So anyway, let me actually move this. We don't need to see that text anymore. So I'll try to find a happy medium where I can put this. All right. So then, let's see. It's been a while since I played this game. Let's see what I remember and what I don't. For more chat about geek entertainment, answers to your questions, and news from the wider world of Christian geekery, get the Christian Geek Central podcast today on iTunes and other podcast services.